Entertainment comes in so many different forms: books, movies, theaters, video game, etc. In the end, all the entertainment tools are made to fill people's time. I spend most of my free time playing a video game or watching a show because I'm lazy and I want someone else to tell me the story. But some people want to use their imagination to bring the story to life, so they choose a book. All these tools come in different forms and genres. Some of them put you in the back of your seat and pump your adrenaline to the roof, like comic books and action media, but some of them are made to calm you down in the emotional situations. Speaking of comic books, now let's dive into a deep ocean of storytelling called comic books. The term comic book derives from American comic books, once being a compilation of comic strips of a humorous tone. However, this practice was replaced by featuring stories of all genres, usually not humorous in tone. It's a combination between an animation and a book. They're not just a mass of text that you fall asleep by just looking at them. They're alive. They move. Comic books aren't a new thing, and they were invented by
Schoolmaster Adolf Topfer
in 1835. Most people, when they hear the comic book, the first thing that comes to their mind is a superhero. At least I am like this. The early comic books didn't have anything to do with overpowered beings, but you can't tell a story about a powerful person with colorful suit without showing it to the reader. So comic books are the best way to tell an action story. All superheroes do not necessarily need an action environment to be cool, but it would definitely add something to their cool factor.
Bad news. We gotta go. Uh-oh.
Because of so many flashy, eye-catching and engaging things that they had, it's fair to say they got so many audiences. An audience makes success, and success make money. Some companies accept this road and continue it, but others try to expand it and make more money with it, like selling a toy, or a waffle maker, or even a dumbbell clock. Literally anything. It's a no-brainer to not do that. One of the best things that happened from these merches and stuff was introducing superheroes to movies and video games. You can't tell that you don't have a great memory of watching a movie or playing a game based on a superhero. It doesn't matter if you're a kid, adult, or elderly, you can't deny that superhero media is fun. Just look at this and tell me it didn't bring a tear of joy to your eyes when you experienced it.
God, this is so cool. I always wanted brothers.
So you like make your own web fluid in your body?
I'd rather not talk about this.
No, I don't mean to.
Are you teasing me?
No. He's not teasing you. It's just that.
But it's fun when it's done right. There are a ginormous amount of superhero movies and games that not only are unlovable, but they are an insult to the audience and the characters themselves. Today, I want to talk about how to adapt a superhero comic into a movie or a show or a video game by talking about Batman. To make the video easier, I organized the subject into a smaller part so you can understand it better. Part 1, be based on the real story. When I say be based on the real story, I don't mean you should make the movie or the game exactly like the comic. You should not copy and paste the comic into the movie scene. If you want to introduce multiple villains to the story, you don't need to make a full movie or a game for them, like what Sony is doing right now. You cannot have a Venom without a Spider-Man, at least in the first couple of movies. Morbius is a cool character, but he doesn't need a full movie for an introduction. The final result would be a boring, repetitive Dracula movie.
It's morbid time.
Don't get me wrong, anything will be possible if you give the movie to a good director or a good writing team, like what happened to the Suicide Squad. On the other side, look at what Batman did in the Rocksteady trilogy. They saw the great villains of Batman and made one of them the main villain, and the others were just fulfilling the main story or expanding the game's playtime by making them their side missions, like the Mad Hatter in Arkham Origins and the Riddler trophies in the Arkham Knight. They could make a full game based on the Mr. Freeze on the Arkham Knight, but they chose to make a side mission DLC of him, and it was just enough. Riddler is a great character, but is he enough to be the main villain? In a movie, yes, but a video game, I don't think so. It would be a trophy collector simulator instead of an action game. I don't know why they made us collect 200 and something trophies to 100% the game. Even 150 was more than enough. Sometimes you don't need to start the movie or the game from the start of the main character's origin story. For example, the Amazing Spider-Man trilogy didn't need to start exactly like the Sam Raimi trilogy. I need to say, Andrew is my favorite Spider-Man and I love the movies even with so many flaws that they have. It can be like the Batman or the MCU Spider-Man movie, which starts after the character becomes the person that he is. We already know the reasons because of thousands of movies and games and books that exist about them. We need to know new things about them. Like we could again start from scratch in the Batman Arkham Asylum and experience the origins of Batman. But instead, we experienced a new story about him, and because of that, I was introduced to so many new villains and characters in the Batman universe that I didn't know before. You should not go extreme in the character introduction. Don't confuse the viewer by blasting them with so many soulless characters at the same time. It's good to have multiple characters to keep the story fresh and active, but you need to remember that people that are watching are human, and human, as intelligent as they would be, they can't understand nor feel sympathy for the characters. This maybe works in a video game or a TV show because of how much time you have to work with, but in a movie it is almost impossible. For example, look at the Eternals. They spend 70% of the movie introducing the characters. You indeed have a universe and you need them to complete your future stories or play a big role in the future. But it doesn't work like that. A bucket has a limited volume. You cannot pour water on it forever. It will finally overflow and ruin everything else. It took Marvel 10 years to build the Avengers and evolve the characters. They made the Avengers Infinite War and gave the characters what they deserve. They wanted to do the same in a couple of hours with Eternals. The story should not be changed or be open-ended for a possible sequel. I don't mean that the movie shouldn't have a sequel at all. Perhaps I want to watch a continuation of the movie that I loved, but what I mean is that it should not ruin the character and the story completely and milk the fans. Again, you can see this happen pretty poorly in the Sony superhero verse. God, I wish Sony could learn from its gaming division. How can you be great and hurtful in making something and be completely different in the different scene? A good example of a good sequel is the Batman Nolan trilogy. It didn't have the best superhero movie of all time if they didn't choose to make a sequel for the first movie. RIP Heath Ledger. And the other lesson that you can get from this trilogy is finishing the series open-ended for a possibly another sequel. But they chose not to ruin the series with a poorly made cash grab. Enough is enough. Now let's talk about another important thing that plays an important role in a story and its character development. Being true to the character. There are so many movies that butchered their cool character because of their lack of knowledge about the character or milking the audience by making false hope for them that they finally will see their favorite character in the big screen. The best example is Ben Affleck's Daredevil. I don't know whose idea was this, but we got this. Instead of this. I know that's fucking cool, but not in a Daredevil movie. It didn't even have fall damage. Thank God Netflix revived it and made my favorite superhero of all time. I don't get it. It's true that so many kids watch superhero movies and play games, but are all of the audience kids though? It's like saying video games are for kids. I don't know who in the right mind would agree with that. It's true that maybe they started with being a kid entertainment tool, but they evolved over time. Apparently, companies don't know anything about that. The Joker sold over 1 billion because it was a phenomenal movie. It wasn't a PG-13 movie, it was a good movie. If companies would care more about quality than baiting children, society would be like this. The point I'm making is the characters should not change their personalities or lower their violence just because little Timmy will cry watching it. Moon Knight is a good show, but it would be better if they had blood on it. They shoved 3 spears in the person's body and the only liquid that shed was tears from my eyes that they didn't do justice for the characters. Black Widow could be a great dark movie, but no, my children are watching. The only time that I really enjoy seeing a character being his true self was in the Batman video game and the Batman movie. Batman's personality is made of what? Ego, loneliness, power, intelligence, silence, etc. You can see that in the Batman Arkham video game trilogy. Every punch you hit, every interaction you have, every problem that he solves screams Batman. They are unique to him. And they didn't stop there and evolved the character in each game they released. We were fighting in the first game to the point that I became tired in real life and my hands hurt. But in the Arkham Knight, I had Robin and Nightwing to help me fight the enemies. It shows the evolution of the character. You can feel it because you will go so deep in the game that you think you are the Batman yourself. You need to learn how to solve the problems and mysteries by yourself. But in later games, you didn't need to learn the tools. Instead, you focused on the more effective way to use them. Batman did make some jokes here and there, but they fit the Batman personalities. They didn't make him land on the Wonder Woman to tell a fucking joke between a fight for the humanity. It is actually too late to tell fuck jokes like that in 21st century. In the Batman movie 2022, we can see the influence of these games and true Batman. I don't know about Bruce Wayne though, but the Batman itself was really great. Batman doesn't need to always jump from buildings and fight 16 armed enemies with bare hands. Batman is a human and a detective. It's cool to explore that side of him too. We saw the godly powerful Batman so many times. You can see a personality that learns from his life and improve it for the future. And I am really excited to see where they go with him. Before I forget, the costume in a superhero movie plays a major role too. You can't have a serious character with a colorful and happy costume and a comedy superhero in a boring and lifeless suit. Just look at this. The last part that I want to talk about is the setting of the movie. Setting includes literally anything that I talked about and more, but mostly used for the environment. Batman is the Dark Knight. He is a bat. Bats can't do anything in the daylight. Their body can't handle it, like a fish that can't live out of the water. All the superheroes have a kind of power that define them from normal human beings. In real life, that's cool for itself alone, but when you want to make a story, you need something to make it unique from competitors. Jessica Jones and Batman are both detectives, but what makes them different is the environment and the way that they approach their targets. For a movie or a video game based on Batman, you need to put him in a night setting. Most scary stories are happening in the middle of the night, and given the fact that the signature of Batman is fear and becoming the shadow, it doesn't make sense to put him in the daylight. In that case, he is a person with a stupid bat suit that can die with a 9mm pistol. He doesn't approach his enemies face to face most of the time, and the darkness is a key feature in his character. You can see this in the Rocksteady trilogy. The game doesn't have a night and day cycle. Instead, you have a long night to finish it all. There are some missions that happen in a dark room and all the enemies have a weapon. You can't beat these missions until you start to plan a strategy and take them out by surprising them from the back or the above. You need to use the environment to your advantage. There are some fire extinguishers and power fuses that you can activate to blind the enemies, and that shows if there isn't any darkness in the room to show the Batman's power. He will find a way to maintain his advantage over the enemies. You can see this feature greatly shown in the Batman movie, which he does the same to take out the Riddler's allies. God, every time I watch that movie, I understand the influence of the Rocksteady games on it. It's basically the live action for that trilogy. Another example is the Spider-Man. There is no better place for the Spider-Man than New York City. Seeing him in a city like Washington DC doesn't make sense. He needs the tall buildings to be the Spider-Man. I think Stanley said that too. Thank you so much for watching. I will be happy to see your opinion about this subject in the comments, and if I was wrong, please correct me. Like and subscribe will help me a lot and will give me the motivation to continue making videos.